I am Pam Savino, and I would like to welcome you to the Live Authentically show. My team and I help people step into their authentic realities, and we do that via a number of different modalities. This podcast is obviously one of them. We also have a Facebook group, and we would love to have you join us there. We can be found at liveauthentically.today/FB. There we will be surrounded by a group of like-minded people committed to spiritual growth and transformation, and we would love to have you join us. And I'm super excited that on today's show, I have with me Heather Legge. Hi, Heather.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
You're welcome. Yeah, it'll be a great hour. Before we jump, I can't wait to hear about you and your journey and what you do on a daily basis. But before we jump into all of that, I always like to start all of my shows off with the same question. And that question is, drum roll, are you ready? What
Sure.
It's an easy one. What does it mean to you to live authentically every day?
Oh, that's an easy one. Well, man, I feel like you could ask me that question 10 times and I might have a slightly different answer.
Sure.
It's like, how do people define attitude? We all know what it is. We all know what living authentically is, but how do we define it?
Right.
I think it's being true to our essence. But, I find in my many years of working with high performing leaders, even we need permission sometimes to do that. And then we also need the courage to overcome the fear of not being good enough. So it's a combination of knowing who we are, giving ourselves permission, and going for it. No holding back.
That's great. And have you always come from this place of authenticity? I mean, has it always been a relatively natural thing for you to be authentic, or is there a journey or kind of a backstory behind that?
Yeah, no, I had, I think as a really young child, I was pretty expressive and easygoing, but yeah, I suffered just a lot of insecurities as a younger girl and as a young working professional. I always was basically, here's what I'm trying to say, major perfectionism issues. Like that plagued me most of my life. And it still pops up a little here and there, I'm not gonna lie. But I don't want to be perfect. In fact, I want to be imperfect. I can appreciate imperfection now. We all have our little quirks, and I can appreciate some of my quirks and flaws now. So that's, no, it was not natural for me at all until probably like 5 years ago.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I want to talk about perfectionism a little bit because I know that that's something with a lot of people struggle with. I'll go ahead and raise my hand there. I am totally, I mean, some days, I joke, I describe myself as a recovering perfectionist, and other days I'm a full-blown perfectionist and it gets the best of me. And it's something that I still have to work very hard at keeping at bay and knowing that it's okay to be imperfect. It's actually better to be imperfect and recognize your flaws and incorporate all aspects of us, the light and the dark and everything. But what are some things that you have used to help to cope with your perfectionism?
Meditation, for me, when I meditate, it's really kind of a combo of meditation and prayer. So I'll call on, my spiritual sides. I've grown spiritually, and I would say that coincided, I'd say that 5 years ago, or even probably more like 3 years ago. It's been a journey. I mean, I knew I was a perfectionist. I knew I wanted to change it, but it was difficult. So there was a long period of time where I felt like it was a struggle. So I was a perfectionist about not wanting to be a perfectionist. And I had these super high expectations. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to fix it fast. Why isn't this working? Why am I still struggling? Right? Can you relate?
Absolutely.
Why don't I have this figured out yet? Dang it. So, but through a series of coaches, women coaches who, the conversations are always a little bit different when I'm coaching a woman versus when I have a woman coach. And I've just found that we can be more vulnerable, which helps me a lot with my growth, and also helps me with my clients typically. so between that, so I had some spiritual growth, so meditation, just realizing that I could not fulfill my purpose if I couldn't get over myself
Mm-hmm.
was something that I had to continually try to remember day to day to day. And it gets easier with time. But yeah, it still pops up sometimes.
Yeah, and I think it's if we reframe it and if we incorporate it in our lives in a healthy way, it can be fuel, right? Fuel for our mission. But if it's not dealt with in a healthy manner, it can be very disabling. And like you said, it can really impede progress and impede getting in the way of your mission. And I know I experienced that even in my book writing, and I can't wait to hear about yours in a minute. But just this whole book writing process was not a small undertaking, and my biggest struggle there was it just never felt done. I felt like as the perfectionist, there was always something more I could tweak or something more I could fine tune. And at one point, my business manager said to me, like, the goal is to get people to read this. Like he was kind of like the one at the, I was standing at the edge of the diving board and he was the one that was kind of like, okay, you're going in, I'm pushing you into the deep end. And, he did. And then I just totally, just fell in, swam to the side, and it was beautiful. But it's just, I think perfectionism, can definitely be a challenge if we don't incorporate it in a healthy way.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you've made strides to overcome that. I'll have to take some notes from you as I kind of work to keep mine at bay. But anyways, I would love to move into hearing about you and what you do. I know you have a successful business as the founder of Envision Success. You are a published author. I would love to hear about any and all of that you would love to share. So I'll just go ahead and turn it over to you to tell me about what you do on a daily basis, who you help, how you serve your clients, and then how you were inspired to write a book.
Okay. Well, cut me off if we run out of time because I'm enthusiastic about what I do. So I
I'm
started, like most of us, right?
Yep.
I started Envision Success Inc. in 2006,
Okay.
and as a business coach at that time, the first 3 years, I felt like my biggest challenge was educating people as to what business coaching was. When I said coach, they were like, "Oh, like soccer coach?"
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So then, it really took off. Weirdly, when the recession hit, the people that were really serious about being successful were looking for help. Those high performers, the people that I really like working with, that are willing to say, "Hey, I don't know it all. I don't have to know it all. I do better with accountability, and how can you help me?" So, so that turned out to be I don't know, yeah, interestingly, a growth spurt for me, and started working more with small business owners. So these days, predominantly, I work with women business owners. They're making some money, but they're at that point where they can't scale until they figure out how sustainable productivity and how to be truly effective without burning out is,
Mhm.
until they put some changes in place. And a lot of times that has to do with getting over those fear, getting out of our own way. The perfectionism. Oh my gosh, perfectionism is such a stealer of productivity, right? I
Sure.
mean, it's really hard to get something done if you're constantly questioning, or you spend an extra 6 hours going for perfect when 2 would have got it done good enough. But
Right.
that's a big deal for a lot of us to get to that point. So when I'm helping these business owners or entrepreneurs or sometimes senior leaders in larger organizations, and not always women, there was a lot of overlap.
Mhm.
But again, I like having those conversations with women because we can let our hair down. When we're with someone else, we feel safe. We
Mhm.
can let our hair down. We can be more vulnerable. And when people say, I'm, I would love it if they say to me, I'm afraid, and this is why. But we have so many layers of shoulds piled on ourselves that we often can't see the forest for the trees, to use that,
Mhm.
well used term. And so it's helping them with whatever's coming up. But generally, I help business owners take back control of their time so that they can achieve the vision and love their life and create their legacy intentionally. So it's about the bigger picture of effectiveness. It's not about mondo efficiency, because that's no good if you're working on the wrong things. So
Right.
a lot of times it is about, peeling back those layers and figuring out what is it that you really want to do? Who do you want to be? And let's go do that and
Mhm.
try to say no or not right now to everything else that's going on, so you can focus and bring it to fruition. So
Mhm.
it's very rewarding, as as you can imagine.
Sure.
And the book, unless you want to stop me there.
I did, no, I would love to hear about the book. I did have one question about what you were just talking about, that when someone comes to you for coaching, and I know every situation is unique, but are there some common fears or common hurdles that you see people really struggling with when they come to you? I mean, are there some broad categories that you could put these fears or, yeah, that these fears in?
Yes.
Love
Yes,
to
we
hear
can.
about
So the perfectionism is one that I see a lot.
those. Okay.
And it tends to go hand in hand with we'll say, control freaks. Often people that we know when we're control freaks. I mean, I would say I thought I was doing better than I was until our niece moved in with us, and I was like, oh my God, I can't take it. I was like chasing her around, wiping off fingerprints, and I thought,
Mhm.
is this really what life is about?
Right.
You just got to dial it back and learn how to let some stuff go
Right.
and enjoy what really matters. And that it takes a lot of practice. So I see some of those same patterns especially with women running business, control freak issues, having a hard time letting things go and trusting other people to do a great job. So a lot of times I'll actually spend a fair amount of time on leadership skills and how to delegate to somebody, so that, these women can finally take a real vacation and know that the business isn't going to fall apart.
Hmm.
So yeah, we can say, oh, okay, yeah, I want to take a vacation, no problem. And then you start thinking about all the things that could go wrong when you're a control freak, and you won't even book the trip.
Hmm.
And that's
Right.
no good. That's not good for your family. So, um, I don't know, what are some of the other things? Fear of not being good enough. Yeah, and I think those two go hand in hand from
Hmm.
what I've seen. When we find it hard to let go of things, it's because we're afraid if we don't perform at a certain level, or if we let things go, something bad is going to happen. And a lot of it's just conditioning from early childhood. And when we can really start to look at where's this coming from, or I don't focus a whole lot on that, but what good is this, how is this serving you, or how is this not serving you?
Hmm.
And it's little shifts until it feels more natural.
Right. Around the whole area of delegation, is there any do you do any mindset techniques or mindset coaching around that? I mean, how is it? Because I know that can be really challenging. I'm a horrible delegator. I mean, I like to be, I'm kind of, again, recovering control freak, all of these things that you're talking about totally strike a chord with me, because they're definitely things that I've dealt with in the past and still deal with from time to time. But I've recently started to challenge myself on delegation, and it has been just so immensely freeing. I just did one of those grocery services recently, those like grocery delivery services.
Huh?
So, I mean, I've got 4 kids running a business. Like I don't, I like to grocery shop, but it just, I needed to pick and choose. I can't keep layering things on because I'm not getting any more than 168 hours in a week. So something has to give. And it is amazing how when you learn to delegate, you realize, for me, it was an aha moment. It was an epiphany. Like, wow, somebody else she can, this person shopped as well as, if not better than I did, probably better, because she didn't run around and grab things from the end caps and toss in that and toss. She didn't overbuy or over.
Ah.
That was eye-opening to see that somebody could step in and do the job as well as I did, and probably better. So, what types of techniques do you use with your clients to help them overcome and the delegation issue, and shift from that place of wanting to hold on to everything and do it themselves, to finally release and free themselves, pull other people in so that their business can grow?
Yeah, there are several things. It really depends on the specific person, the client, and what's going on with them, what their specific challenges are. So if I might give them a challenge, say we're meeting up again in 2 weeks, and I might say, push them a little, say, well, have you tried a grocery shopping? Have somebody else do it. And then they have a win like you did. And then the door is open, right? Okay. Now I realize, holy cow, this is so exciting. What if, and the good what ifs, right? So it can take a win like that, but sometimes the fear is so strong that it's hard for them to do it. So that's an easy one. And I love that example. Good job, by the way. But if it's like someone delegating, handing over a client, or giving a piece of the business where if it goes wrong, it could be really bad. So instead of using the what if game all for negative, what if something bad happens?
Right.
I will challenge them. Well, what if something great happens? Mm-hmm. And at least I'll get them to see there are two sides to the coin, and that then I'll challenge them. Well, how can you, what control do you have to make this as smooth as possible? Does this person have everything they need to do an amazing job? And generally the answer is no, because they haven't been showing somebody else how to do those important tasks. Mm-hmm. Partly this happens because, let's face it, nobody has enough time to do all of the things that they really want to do.
Right.
I mean, the time crunch is a real thing, right? We all have some of it in some shape or form. So sometimes it's carving out space in a different area to allow some of that training to happen, and then they automatically have more faith that the person can do it. Mm-hmm. So it's specific scenarios, but those are pretty common. The other thing is how to talk with someone else, how to give someone an order without it sounding, I don't know if I can say the B word. Or, whatever.
Authentic to you is what you can say.
Yeah, okay, well, like what's authentic to me might be offensive to someone else.
No, I don't.
Sometimes people are afraid they're going to sound bitchy if they say, hey, will you do this for me? But there's a way to say it that is kind and is still, it's an ask. You can still say thank you without being overly soft. It's just sometimes people don't really know how to say it. So, so I'll give people specific phrases if that's what it's going to take. I'm like, okay, try this out the next 2 weeks, mm-hmm. and just do baby steps. I think we tend to resist things that feel big and scary. So if it's the term I use a lot, and I'm pretty sure I put this in the book, is breadcrumbs. Like I have to give myself breadcrumbs to get out of the forest sometimes. Hey, so I will use the same lines. Each little step, like you got to know what's next. Or because there's so many things coming at us all the time, we resist anything that takes a little more time, a little more thought. If it's not super clear in the moment, I'm probably not going to do it. So giving them specific phrases, specific next steps.
I love that approach, and just kind of layering on, right? Just once they get comfortable with that, then you can layer on new practices.
Yes.
I love that.
And it's like you said, it's so freeing. They get a taste and then they want more. So mm-hmm. then if they're good, they're off and running. I mean, they might get a little more specifics, but yeah.
It is so empowering. And I know sometimes it can feel a little scary to speak up, to step into that space. And it's all in the phrasing. I mean, I've noticed too that I've even changed the way that I phrase certain things. It's all in the delivery. It's rather than jumping in and giving people advice now, like I used to, like, hey, even if I have an intuitive feeling about something, they may not be in a place to receive my advice. So, or my thoughts or my considerations. So now I ask, hey, are you interested in hearing a different way of approaching that you might want to consider? And that's received so much different, so much more differently than, here's what I think you should do. That puts people on the defensive. And, so it's just all in kind of softening the delivery. That's what I found.
Oh, that's a brilliant example. Yeah. I mean, that's night and day. So it could be like, it could really open the door versus not doing it.
Right. Exactly. Right.
And I'm a total rebel. So, somebody tells me to do something, I'm going to at least heavily consider the opposite.
So
if it's really not in my best interest, I might, but yeah.
We're definitely kindred spirits in so many regards here. A lot of what you're saying is I'm like, okay, yep, that's me.
Yeah, how can you be perfectionists and rebels? It's like a crazy combo, but
Right, it is. I know. Well, I would love to hear about your book. I know that you've got that there, so I'd love for you to hold it up and so you can tell us a little bit about it. I would love to hear kind of the genesis of it. Where did you get the idea to write the book? And just if you can just give me the story there, I would love to hear it.
it's kind of a crazy story. So,
I'd love
well,
to hear
thank
it.
you. I'm over here, I'm laughing. So, so it's got my face right on it.
I love it. I love it. That's
You
a
know,
gorgeous
which at first I resisted a little, but then I was like, no, you know what? I like books. I pick up books, people that have people's face. I want to know what they're all about. Partly why I do all my videos and stuff with my office behind me. People can see my little tchotchkes. I got my little Swedish horse, you know, like whatever.
I love it.
I'm a total colored pen nerd.
Oh, I love it.
Just whatever. Anyway, so that's a little bit more about me. But it's called Lead with Moxie, Surprising Ways Women Are Creating Success in Business. So it's a little less than 250 pages. And this started as a project. I didn't know it was going to be a book until a while into things. So the genesis, I love that word, by the way, was the summer of 2015. This was when I was going through a lot of these big changes. Like, okay, I got to figure out this perfectionism thing. It's killing me. I'm not, making the impact that I want to. I'm not reaching the people that I want to because I'm sitting in my office perfecting things that no one cares about. And so I was working with a great coach at the time, really helped me get vulnerable. I mean, we had sessions where I was just sobbing, and some of that's probably a little perimenopause, making up for lost time with crying. Which is great. Now I love it. If I cry, I mean, maybe not in public, but if I'm a cry, I'm like, yes, get those toxins out. It's great.
Right.
It's like I'm okay with it now. It's amazing. That also freeing. Anyway, so we were talking about a marketing campaign, and I said, I would love to have the courage. This feels so funny to me now. I want to have the courage to say, I work with women business owners to do X, Y, Z. And she's like, well, what's stopping you? And because almost at any given time, I had over half of my clients were men, and I just didn't want to offend anyone. I didn't want to be one of those feminazis or, whatever. So I don't know, now I think it's funny, right? But at the time I was concerned, and I felt like I had to do all this research and to get all my ducks in a row and basically give myself permission, right? So I called 10 women that I knew that were running a business, and I asked them a short series of questions. What skills and behaviors would it take from you as an individual in order to accelerate success in your business? What happens when you get stuck? What advice do you have for other women, etc.? There were a couple others. And so because I was a data nerd in a former life, I wrote it like a survey, or actually wrote it in a survey tool, because I wanted to ask the exact same questions. And it just seemed natural to me, which is crazy now to think. So started with 10 calls. And the coolest thing happened. They loved these conversations. They said, oh, you should talk to so-and-so. You should talk to Lisa. You should talk to Stacy. You should talk to whoever. And then they also, because they knew I was asking a handful of other women. Yeah. They asked later, what did the other women say? I mean, they really wanted to know. So I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about, wow, we're all thinking a lot of the same things. We're all worrying about crap we don't need to be worrying about. What does everybody else think about me? But they were all really vulnerable and shared a lot of things that I was not expecting. I thought these were going to be, fairly cut and dry, a little bit, mostly business conversations, and they turned into a lot of different things. So then it just kept going. Okay. So I never, I kept everything confidential, but I shared some of the trends and patterns that I was seeing. And then pretty soon I had like 30 something interviews that I had done, and I had 13 themes that were emerging of things that they said that they, you know, the skills and behaviors that they felt they needed individually in order to be successful in business. And then I had, you know, I thought, oh, 50 sounds like a good round number. I'll go for 50. Then it'll be like something I can say, oh, I interviewed 50 women. And it just kept going. So it sat for chunks of time. And then eventually I had 111 interviews done.
Oh my goodness. Over how long? Over what?
I think a little over 2 years.
Okay.
So, I mean, there were periods of time where I had several interviews in a week, you know, and I was like, man, this is like a part-time job. This is crazy. But they were so much fun. So then women kept suggesting other women to talk to. Okay. So it started, you know, just the people that I knew in my own city. And then it was pretty soon it was regional. And then I had other countries, and so it really expanded. And yeah, so 15 themes emerged overall, and those became the chapters in the book. So maybe around like 50 interviews or so. I don't know if I said it, because throughout my life, like many of us, I had said, oh, someday I'm going to write a book. Or possibly someone suggested, you should write a book. And light bulb went off. I really should write a book. This is amazing stuff. I knew I had to share this with the world. I knew I had to share what I learned with other women. So there were several surprises that just blew me away, changed me forever. And doing all those interviews and learning those things about the other women absolutely helped me get over my perfectionism issues, mostly, and be more comfortable with who I am and how I am and what I'm here to offer. And I wanted every woman that I could possibly connect with and share this information to know that we're so hard on ourselves and we don't need to be.
Right.
Yeah. So, so there's some big surprises in there, but the 15th, so I'll give you some idea of the chapters. So we have things like clarity, courage, focus, say no, time control. That's what I call it. Well, time management, people probably would call it. Avoiding overwhelm, discipline, letting go of perfectionism, communicate, sell, learn, develop others, connect, community. You get the idea. So, yeah, wow. A lot of my own personal adventures, client success stories, and the insights that I gained from the interviews.
Okay, wow. And prior to this, this very large undertaking, would you have previously considered yourself a writer?
I have always liked writing, but no, I mean, yes and no.
Okay.
Right? Like now I feel like, ooh, I'm a published author. I can call myself a writer. But I mean, I was writing a lot of blogs and people said, oh, you're a good writer. And I thought, oh, okay, that's cool. You know, I always got high marks in school when I had writing assignments. So I guess I knew I had it in me, but I didn't really label myself that way.
Mm-hmm. I was just curious about that because that's such a huge project to take on if that was your first writing project. And I was just curious if you had a coach or how you helped, did you have somebody help you structure it and help draw the ideas out? Because I know
I did. Thank God for my awesome book coach, Emily. If anybody wants her information, I will hook you up. She is amazing. She was exactly the right person for me. Of course, I know there undoubtedly are more of her, that everyone will find someone that's the right match. But yeah, she asked me questions and I had tried writing. I mean, I had started the writing process before I really even knew there were book or author coaches. And we connected online and she's in a completely different country. And we would just hop on Zoom calls and she would ask me questions. So the writing that I did before working with her was very academic.
Okay.
And not preachy, but like it was going to be too dry. I don't know, I mean, it could have been a college course instead of something that a woman running a business or someone interested in running a business or managing a team could pick up and actually read and enjoy and get some tangible action steps from. Mm-hmm. So she helped me find my voice, which I will say I did not have before working with her. going through a process like this where you find your voice as a writer,
Yeah.
that has helped me really uncover more authenticity.
Mm-hmm. Did
Yeah.
you find that your voice evolved over the course of your writing?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the more courage I had, there was a lot of, yeah, insecurity, I guess. Oh, I don't know what to write. I don't know, and it was like, oh my gosh, I am an expert.
Right,
Why am I worrying about this?
right, exactly.
But yeah, so it really helped to have her. And then during the editing process and working with the book cover designer, just getting I had a lot, like 30 beta readers that read bits and pieces and getting feedback. Obviously, all of that helped too. This is great. This is awesome. Thank you so
Right,
much. It really made a difference for me. These action steps are great. Like all of that feels like, okay, I'm on the right track.
right,
You know?
right. Getting that affirmation, right?
Yeah.
What's the biggest thing that you learned about yourself during the book writing process?
Uh, what's the, I mean,
Or
it's kind of,
you overcame, or just like,
yeah, I think it's kind of what I just said. Like
yeah,
at a certain point, I realized I kind of don't care. I mean, I really, really, really want this to change lives and impact the world and make a tangible difference.
mm-hmm.
But it, what came from that full intention is what it is. And I wouldn't, I wouldn't change it, even if it doesn't fulfill my expectations, because the creation itself is how it's supposed to be.
Right,
I think just being comfortable with that was a big growth step for me. Because being, a perfectionist, high goals, high expectations,
right,
it's like the result, result, result. But who I became through this process and how much more comfortable I am with who I am and what I bring to the table, and my place in the world is priceless. So whether the book sells a lot or not,
right.
I'm already thrilled.
That's right. It's a huge accomplishment. Congratulations. And I'll
Thank
definitely
you.
have to pick up a copy. I would definitely love to
Thank
read it.
you. I do want the sales. Keep them coming. No.
Yeah. Where is it on? Where is it? Where do you have it on sale?
It's on Amazon. It's on my website, so you can find it pretty easily. So Lead with Moxie. So if you go to envisionsuccessinc.com, you can find Lead with Moxie in the menu, or leadwithmoxie.org, or Amazon, Lead with Moxie, Heather Legge.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. I'll definitely have to pick up a copy. Thank you.
Thank you for asking. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's such a huge accomplishment. Published author. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. And I can't wait to hear more about yours.
Oh, soon, soon. It'll be next year's on Amazon, hopefully. So pretty soon this
Okay.
month. So yeah, it's been quite a journey. It's been such a growth opportunity. So
Yeah. Did you find yourself relating to the things that I said, or do you feel like you had a little bit of a different experience?
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I could identify with a lot of what you were saying. I mean, I absolutely found my voice during the writing process, and that's kind of where that question came from when I asked about, did your voice evolve over the course of your writing? Because that's what I found in the beginning. I would actually have to go back then and revisit some sections that I had written at the very beginning, because I was I was just kind of tiptoeing around and like touching on this and touching on that. And after getting into it for a little bit, I'm like, you know what? This is my voice. My voice got louder and louder and louder during the process. And it was more and more authentic, and it flowed much easier. And I really found my groove. And I had to go back to those parts I wrote at the beginning and kind of restyle them so that they were congruent with the voice that I had found during the process. So that was absolutely fascinating to witness and to experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because I realized that this book is supposed to be, it's my story, it's my authentic story. So I was just worried. I think I was just applying too much judgment. I had the fear of how others might judge me, or I had this self-critic that was kicking in while I was writing. But that wasn't the stage where I should be critiquing or editing. I just needed to write. So I definitely learned how to kind of silence my inner critic, kind of battle that inner perfectionist, and just right. And the more I just spoke from the heart, the more it just flowed.
Yeah, I echo everything you said. Yeah, my experience is very similar. And to anyone who's with us, right now, that in thinking about doing this, it's an amazing experience. And sure, it is a lot of work, it's time consuming, but it's so great. Just
Yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to ask you is what do you say to the person who's sitting there with a great idea that they want to share with the world, but they don't know how to get it out there, or they have a fear about putting it out there? What do you have to say to them to sort of coax them and be the one to push them off the edge of that diving board so that they can,
yeah.
swim in the pool?
Oh, I'm not opposed to a hard shove. Once I know them and what they're about, absolutely. But with love, a loving shove, I should say.
Absolutely, yes.
I think it's a lot of course, it's a lot of asking questions, and
Okay.
I think one of my guiding principles. I mean, Moxie is one of my, it is my favorite word. Basically, my license plate. Half the programs I've come up with over the last.
Oh, love it.
I have Moxie in the title. My husband's like, Moxie this, Moxie that. It's cute. Yeah.
You order a pizza. What's the name? Moxie.
Oh, I should totally do that.
You should do that.
We get a lot of takeout too, so that'd be great. Oh, he'd kill me because he always goes to pick it up.
I think you should do that.
Ooh, April Fool's is coming.
There we go.
Nice. I like that idea. Thank you. No, I practically forgot the question, but if somebody, so they have something to bring to the world, and I think we're all in this boat at some point. As we create each level of success, then there's another thing that we want to, do. Yeah. And we have the trepidation, and I think knowing that, well, it helps a lot if you know your purpose, because then that can become kind of a litmus test, right?
Sure.
Am I afraid? Yes. Is this exciting? Yes. Okay, that's a great combination.
Yes.
It's okay to be afraid. If you're still excited about it, then baby steps. Just do it. What do you have to lose? Think of it as a fun experiment rather than something you have to get right. I think that's one of the pieces of advice that I've given, and I have to give to myself frequently. My planner this week, I wrote "fun experiment" pink highlighter and underlined it a few times, at the top so I could see it the whole week. Because it's so easy to take things seriously,
right?
And not to say that we shouldn't have some responsibility, of course, but when you have an exciting idea, something that you want to bring to the world, if you can approach it as a fun experiment, and as long as you're aligned with who you are and who you want to be, this legacy that you're creating is intentional, then go for it.
Right.
Don't let anybody tell you it's not the right thing or the right time or whatever. Just get out there and try some stuff.
Right. And I love that word legacy. That word legacy is so powerful, because that shifts it from, what do I want to do? What do I want to produce, to how can I serve others, right? How can I impact others' lives in a powerful and meaningful way? And I think when you're coming at it from that place, from that heart-centered place, then the universe just conspires to make it happen. Higher powers, whatever people believe in, that's when things start to fall into place. I think anytime you're adding value to the world, there is a naturalness, an organicness, an ease, a flow with regard to the way that things are happening. And
totally
I think it's so important to hook into that. So I love that word, legacy. Thanks for sharing that.
Another favorite word.
Yeah.
Radiance. So I feel like when you hop into a sales call or a meeting with someone, you don't, coffee meeting with somebody, you're not really sure what's going to happen. You're like, I don't know why I'm here. I don't want this to be a waste of my time. Scrap all that, right? And just focus on lighting yourself up from within. When you're at maximum radiance, cool shit happens. It doesn't even matter what it is. Yeah. Have fun with that. So
right, absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's when we begin to attract then at a higher level, right? We attract because people naturally, even if they aren't consciously aware of it, they're just naturally drawn to people who are radiant, right? I mean, we all gravitate towards the light, right? I mean, so I think it's just so important to exude that energy and to interweave that in every, every in the imprint of our DNA, just make that part of who we are. And then we can't help but attract the experiences and the people that are meant for us.
Exactly. And that's everything, everything that helps you be your most radiant self. Do
Mm-hmm.
it, right? Same with me. Same with every client or girlfriend that I'm talking with. It's like, yeah, whatever level of self-care, green juice,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I have that every day.
helps you be your most radiant,
Right.
then yeah, that's the path.
And that's what was going to be my next question is, what are some of the modalities that you use in order to effectuate or bring your radiant self into the world?
Well, I mentioned meditation.
Yep.
I find at this the stage that I'm in, which I'll be 49 this year, so that gives you an idea what I'm talking about. I need more sleep than I used
Mm-hmm.
to, and that was really hard for me to accept because I
Mm-hmm.
like to go, go, go and get stuff done. I'm like,
Yeah.
I need more sleep. I feel so betrayed. But now I love it. And I use Calm and Audible on my
Mm-hmm.
phone, earbuds, in bed. Yeah. So I listen to a lot of things that help me light myself up. I also do silent meditation, at least 10 minutes every day. And that, I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but man, if I give myself 30 minutes a day, I'm just not going to hit it all the time. 10 minutes I can do.
Mm-hmm.
Water, 12 cups of water. Yeah, so, food, I know what works well for me and I don't cook as much as I used to. But exercise, I do better when I'm exercising regularly. I just get up in the morning. I don't give myself the out.
Mm-hmm.
Keep the clarity about, I was just listening to something this morning when I was doing my hair about keeping the main thing the main thing,
Yeah.
really easy to look at all the opportunities, especially because I love variety and I'm always looking at things strategically. And so it's so easy to get distracted. But when whatever works for each of us to keep the one focus for a period of time,
Mm-hmm.
intentionally, that helps so much.
Right. Yeah, I think that's so important. What words of wisdom do you have to say about, because obviously you've got a lot going on. You've got your book, you've got your business, personal life, etc. What do you have to say around the whole concept of harmony? There's so many things that life calls us to do, right? Taking care of ourselves and tending to, any family members that we may live with, or, running the household, these daily activities, partaking in hobbies, keeping up interpersonal relationships, our jobs, careers, whatever. I mean, there's so many different directions that we can be pulled in. I know it can be dizzying sometimes to try to balance, and I try to stay away from the word balance. I really try to replace that with harmony, because balance is more binary. You're either balanced or you're not. Harmony is, I've got all of these things I have to keep going at the same time. How can I, how do I keep the whole orchestra playing at the same time? I guess is the main question. So what words of wisdom do you have around achieving harmony in your life?
Oh, that's a great visual with the orchestra.
Thank
Really
you.
like that. Hmm.
Thank
Put
you.
that in a blog post. So this comes up with pretty much every client because remember, these are high achievers that are time crunched and they're feeling
Right.
guilt. They're like, I have to find a better way. And sometimes they really are on the verge of burnout, and that's
Yeah.
precisely why they're hiring me. So we talk about the personal stuff and the business stuff because I
Okay.
used to think it really cracks me up. Like when I was in my 20s, I was like, okay, work and personal, those are separate things. The
Mhm.
relationships are separate. Like we don't cross, there's a line. Now I'm like, oh, that is so wrong. It's
Yeah.
everything's integrated. So
Right.
that's how I describe it, is this intentional integration
Love that.
or sometimes an intentional imbalance for a period of time can be really helpful. I think when we're really intentional about it, that's the key, right? What gets us into that dizzy state. That was another great word. Yeah, dizzying. You know, I mean, there's just so much going on. People, we use the word busy. Oh, how are you? Oh, busy. Oh, how are you? Oh, I'm busy too. Ugh, please, let's try to not use the word busy for a while. That's a
Right.
challenge I've got for everybody. Like, let's say, oh, I have a full life. I have a lot of fun projects or
Right.
whatever. Let's
Right.
find some other way to say it. But yeah, so when we're in that place of something's got to go, I can't sustain this, then it's that intentional imbalance. I'm going to put this to the side. This is a
Okay.
not right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say no or not right now to some things that just don't serve me. Or if there are a lot of people ask me to do things a lot. I'm on some boards. And all of us, people will ask us to do things because we get things done. It's like, well, that's not enough of a reason. Let me think.
Right.
Okay, there's
Right.
only so much that I can do, and I
Exactly.
finally got it. Like, we can be at a level 10 in in some areas, but we can't be going full force level 10 in every area or every project all the
Right.
time. There's no way. So it's picking and choosing, what am I going to do right now? What am I focusing on? And it might be like, I'm going to have dinner with the kids 3 nights a week this
Okay.
quarter,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to focus on writing,
Yeah.
1 night a week, or like a 3-hour block at a coffee shop. And I'm going to do this other, whatever. I'm going to focus on hiring the next right person, or, it has,
Mm-hmm.
and then the other stuff that it really has to be done, that's fine. But if we're trying to do everything all the time, it's just too much. And one of the best practices that I've seen a lot of my clients use is to recruit the family, say, hey, this is what I've got going on. I'm not going to be able to come to as many games. Is it okay if for this season I don't come to as many games, but next season I'll do twice as many, or whatever,
Right. Right.
of course. Or I can promise you 1 game a week, but
Right.
that's all I've got right now. I mean, we feel so guilty when it's like we have all these unspoken promises, or sometimes we make too many promises and then we can't keep
Sure.
them all. So
Right.
let's make different promises.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. And I think that can be so freeing too. That's another thing that can be so freeing is learning to say no without guilt, right? Without that guilt, guilt-ridden feeling where, you say no, but then it just hangs over you. I mean, it really is so freeing when you can say no to whatever it is, because it's not a good fit for you right now. And I know you use that phrase, and I attach that phrase all the time to things, because it's like, it doesn't work right now, but 3 months from 3 months from now, I'll be in a very different place. And then it'll be a better fit, or it may be a better fit. And it just reinforces the temporary state of everything, that everything is kind of in flux, and we're figuring this out as we go, and we're making adjustments and kind of reharmonizing and recalibrating and adjusting to life, because we don't live in a rigid construct in this world. It's ever changing, it's dynamic, and we have to give ourselves that grace and that forgiveness, and flow with it, and just know that as long as our heart's in the right place, and as long as we share our feelings with the right people at the right time, then we're coming at it from a place of integrity, in a place of truth. And that's the best we can do, because we don't have unlimited resources and we don't have unlimited time. So we do need to make conscious decisions about how we spend our time and who we spend it with. So I think that,
Exactly.
thank you for sharing your words of wisdom around that.
Yeah, well, and I love the way you phrase some of those things too. It
Thank you.
is just it's that intentionality and
Right.
keeping things in integrity instead of just letting things pile on.
Right.
Being more conscious.
Right, exactly. And like you said, recruiting help. Like, what resources do I need? What resources do I have? I actually have not done a great job over the years of delegating to my kids. So now I'm kind of trying to make up for some lost time. So now in the morning, a lot of times, like, our kitchen looks like a beehive. Like, there's people all around, making their lunches, and it's amazing, and they're excited to help. They're just so excited to help. I was mama bear for so many years, like, oh, let me do that for you. And now, I mean, they're just so empowered knowing that they made their own lunch and knowing that they pack their own backpack, and it's freeing. So it's all the way around. It's just better for everyone to keep delegating, whether it's in the home environment or the business environment. It's all in the spirit of growth, right? It's all about helping others learn and grow and propel them along their journeys.
Exactly. And, we're, John Maxwell talks about leaders creating leaders. And that's exactly, these moms are creating leaders in their kids. We're creating leaders in our employees. So leaders creating leaders, I think, is a great model to when we're thinking about, should I do this for my kids? Or should I teach them to do it and see how excited they are about it? I love how you shared that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so empowering for them, and it's great for everybody all the way around.
I think, contribution is a huge confidence builder. So whether it's, our family team, our business team, or committees we're on, volunteer groups, contribution is a confidence builder. And I don't think anybody, not arrogance, but there's never too much confidence that a person can have, in themselves.
I agree. Yeah. Self-confidence, that intrinsic self-worth.
Yeah.
It comes when it comes from within, people just exude it. There is just no mistaking it. There's no missing it.
Yeah. And
so important.
Your kids lit up with that. So that's awesome.
Right. Thank you. I was just keeping an eye on the time here. I feel like I could talk to you for hours. This hour has gone by so fast. But before we close up, I wanted to just give you an opportunity to share any additional words of wisdom that you have. Would love for you to tell our viewers and listeners how they can contact you directly if they would like to get in touch with you. So I'll just hand it over to you for about a minute or so.
Sure. I don't know. I think I had a couple of challenges in there, but I don't remember what they were. And I agree, this has gone so fast. It's so fun connecting with you. I'm pretty easy to find. So Envision Success Inc. is an easy way. I'm on pretty much every social media platform. So if you're on Instagram, I'm HD Legge, Legge. Twitter, Heather Legge. Facebook, Heather Legge. Actually, my Facebook page is heatherlegge.motivatingmoxie.
I love that.
I have a Moxie in there. If you search Heather Legge and Moxie, you'll probably find like a myriad ways to connect. And I would love it. If there's a way that I can help anybody, I've got tons of free resources on saving time and, just whatever. If there's a blog that can spark your day and help you be more radiant, awesome.
Great. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for being on my show today. I so appreciate you sharing all of your experience and wisdom with me. And I would like to also thank all of our viewers and listeners. I believe that time is a choice, and I'm so grateful that you have carved out time to be on my show, or time to listen to my show today. Also wanted to remind you to go to liveauthentically.today/FB. I would love to have you as part of our Facebook community, where we have a group of people committed to spiritual growth and transformation and to living authentically. Thanks again, Heather, and I hope you guys have a great day.
Thank you.